We are 6 o'clock, sir.
Diane. I'll call the meeting, the April 7th or August 17th meeting of the Area Planning Commission to order. Mr. Burns, would you call the roll, please?
Jackson Bogan. Here. Larry Leverance.
Here.
Carlos Snodgrass. Gary Schroeder.
Here.
Jerry Reynolds.
Here.
Greg Jones. Bob Metzger. Diana Looper.
Here.
Vicki Pearl.
Present.
Michelle Dennis.
Present.
Tom Murtaugh.
Present.
Perry Brown.
Present.
Tracy Brown.
Present.
Jason Domkowski.
Present.
Lisa Dullum.
Here.
Kathy Parker.
Here.
Jody Hamilton.
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you. Briefing session, Mr. Hiddle.
Thank you. All cases are ready to be heard tonight.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from the July 20th, 2022 public hearing as submitted.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. New business.
I move to hear and approve Resolution PD 22-01 Subtext Acquisitions LLC, Verve West Lafayette PD Z 2849.
I second.
Mr. Hiddle.
Thank you, and good evening. David Hiddle with the Area Plan Commission, here with review and approval of final detailed plans for the project known as the Verve West Lafayette. This this project came before you in April, and you recommended for approval, and then subsequently went to the West Lafayette City Council in June, the rezoning, and they approved it. So per PD ordinance, it needs to come back to the Plan Commission for review and approval of final detailed plans, which simply is indication that staff has reviewed the final detailed plans and can vouch that they bear out what the petitioner said they were going to do during the preliminary review process. So this is it's 1.64 acres, formerly 4 lots, each with a freestanding building on it, which is to be improved with a 7-story building that would have a total of 247 units, 5,000 square feet of commercial, and 231 space parking garage. It is in concert with the recommendations of the West Lafayette Downtown Plan, which is an adopted portion of the comprehensive plan, and I think meets with all of the requirements that all of the stakeholders had indicated during the review process, including staff from the city of West Lafayette. So these are the final detailed plans, and they are here needing approval via resolution. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Would the petitioner like to make any comments?
Ryan Munden with Reiling, Teeter and Schreier here on behalf of Subtext Acquisitions. We concur with staff's report and recommendation, concur with Mr. Hiddle's comments. Our client is excited to get construction underway. We'd respectfully request you approve the resolution. Happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the audience? Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, you have a yellow ballot.
Oh, there.
There you go. Thank you.
17 ballots cast, all in favor.
Thank you.
I move to authorize the hearing of a belated primary approval extension request for Swan Holdings Subdivision, Phase 2, S 4247.
I second.
While Kathy's coming up, you'll have two ballots for this item. You'll have two ballots on the Swan Holdings subdivision. On the first ballot, just write authorization on it. Otherwise, there's no way to tell them apart. So you have an authorization to have a hearing, and then
Correct.
the action.
Right. So petitioner's property is located on the north side of Amelia Avenue, just east of Creasy Lane. Lot 2B is the NB zone portion, and that was final platted in 2011. The R3 zoned portion is Lot 2A, which has never been final platted. And unfortunately, it's expired, the approval. It expired July 20th, 2021, just last year. Here's a look at the aerial. Here's a closer look. You can see there's an existing apartment complex under construction. So this first vote is to authorize the belated extension request. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're recommending approval.
Does the petitioner have any comments? If not, any comments from the audience? Questions? Any questions from the board? Okay. Hearing none, you have one yellow ballot. You're voting to hear the extension. So, yeah.
Top.
Yeah, put authorization at the top.
There you go, see?
Doesn't matter. Don't listen to him. We need a ballot collection.
While David's collecting the ballots, I'll just mention that normally we hear the authorization at one meeting and then wait a month and hear the extension at another meeting. But I could find nowhere in the bylaws that that's a requirement, so we're hearing both of them tonight.
Wow. 17 ballots cast, all in favor.
Thank you.
I move to hear and approve the belated two-year extension request for Swan Holdings Subdivision, Phase 2, S 4247.
I second.
Okay, so now comes the ballot for the belated extension approval. Voting on this approval will, or voting on the extension will grant the approval until July 2023. So, and we're
Okay.
recommending approval.
Thank you, Kathy. Now, does the petitioner have any comments? Hearing none, are there any questions or comments from the audience? Hearing none, any questions or comments from the board?
Actually, I do have one. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to bring it up. Would it be appropriate going forward if we have instances like this, to hear them both at the same time, so we don't make the petitioners come back 2 separate months?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. In this case, I believe the petitioner was closing on this property, so they needed to get it done in a hurry, basically.
I'm just saying, if it's better for the
Yeah.
citizens going forward, why make it one more step if we can?
Sure, I agree.
Thank you.
Hearing no other questions, you have a yellow ballot for that one.
Seventeen ballots cast, all in favor.
Thank you.
I move to hear and approve a 2-year extension request for Doherty Commerce Center, Part 2, S 3450.
I second.
Okay. Petitioner's property is located on the north side of Veterans Memorial Parkway. It's between 18th Street and Concord Road, Zone GB. Here's the aerial. You can see there's a number of lots that have been final platted, but this area has not, right through here. All public infrastructure improvements have been installed and accepted for maintenance by the city. This is actually set to expire tomorrow, so it's not belated, they're right on time. So we are recommending we are recommending approval of the extension request.
Does the petitioner have a comment?
Good evening, Tim Balancy for T-Bird Design, here for the petitioner. Agree with staff's comments, request approval. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the audience? Any questions or comments from the board?
I just comment that it seems like I read the subdivision wrong. It's S 3540.
Okay. Hearing none, or hearing no more, you have a yellow ballot.
Seventeen ballots cast, all in favor.
Thank you. For the public hearing, for those of you unfamiliar with our procedures, the commission would like you to know the following. When we hear a request to subdivide land, we're only concerned as to whether the actual drawing showing the division into lots meets the technical requirements of our ordinance. The question of appropriateness has already been determined. Anyone wishing to make comments or provide us with information regarding any subdivision petitions will be given the opportunity to do so. When we're hearing a request for a change in zoning, we're trying to determine if the new zone being requested and the uses allowed in that zone are appropriate to that property and supported by the comprehensive plan. With each case being heard, our staff will present its report. Then the person requesting the rezone will be given an opportunity to speak. Following that, those of you wishing to speak in favor of the rezone will be recognized, and then those of you who wish to oppose it will have a turn. This will be your only time to speak. The person requesting the action will be allowed a rebuttal. Plan Commission members will then ask questions and finally vote. Please limit your statements to no more than 5 minutes. We ask that you do not repeat what others before you have already said. We are a 17-member body, and a majority of 17 is 9. Regardless of how many commissioners are actually present, at least 9 votes in favor or 9 votes against are required for action to be official. If fewer than 9 of us agree to either approve or disapprove an action, that case must be heard again next month. Our vote on a request to subdivide is final. Our vote on a request to rezone serves as a recommendation to the appropriate City Council, Town Council, or County Commissioners who must ultimately decide on changes in zoning. When addressing the Commission, please state your name and address for the record. Cell phones must be turned off while the meeting is in session. If you need to make a call, please step out of the room before using your phone. All exhibits presented to the Commission become the property of the Commission.
I move that there be incorporated into the public hearing portion of each application be heard this evening and become part of the evidence at such hearing, the Unified Zoning Ordinance, the Unified Subdivision Ordinance, the Comprehensive Plan, the bylaws of the Area Plan Commission, the application, and all documents filed therewith, the staff report and recommendations on the application to be heard this evening, and responses from the checkpoint agencies.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I move to hear and vote on V52, vacation of lots 1 through 4 in the George M. Neer minor subdivision.
I second.
Okay, so the 4-lot George M. Neer minor subdivision is located here on the east side of 100 East, zoned agricultural. Here's a look at the aerial. Closer look, you can see there have been no public improvements done, no driveways, nothing at all. Here's a look at the plat. Maybe I should back this up. So this is an 80-acre parent tract. It's all of this ground. And our regulations say you can have up to 4 divisions smaller than 10 acres in size, but no more than that within a parent tract. This parent tract has 3 10-acre tracts, which don't count, and then this 4-lot minor subdivision. But the owner wants to subdivide in this area, and this has never been sold separately, so Greg Suter, who is the property owner, is vacating these 4 lots. So the ballot you've got in front of you is slightly different than what you're used to seeing. It looks more like a findings of fact for a BZA case. So just real quick, number 1, it says the petitioner must be the property owner. He is. Conditions in the platted area need to have changed so as to defeat the original purpose of the plat. Well, it does have a new property owner, so I'm saying that that is a change. And the desires of that property owner are different than the previous property owner. It is in the public interest to vacate all the plat. Vacating these lots will likely keep the land in crop production, which is a good thing. And then number 4, the value of that part of the land in the plat not owned by the petitioner will not be diminished by the vacation. He owns all of that land, so that's a moot point. So I think you can either agree with my findings or you can come up with your own, but Eric can explain that maybe better than me. And we are recommending approval.
Does the petitioner wish to make a presentation?
Bob Gross from R.W. Gross and Associates, 420 Columbia Street. I don't think I can explain it any better than Kathy, so if you've got any questions, I'm here, and the property owner, Greg Suter's here.
Thank you, Mr. Gross. Anyone back here. Anyone from the audience wishing to comment or have a question on this? Anyone on the board have a question or comment? You understand the ballot? Okay. One question I have, do you need, Kathy, there's blanks here, we need to write something in the blank, right?
Yeah, and I think that was where she was kind of going, that you can
Yep.
accept her factual findings. So what this is state law requires in certain actions that you're taking, such as vacating this plat, that you have to make findings of fact like a judge would. And a judge says, oh, I find that it was the 3rd day of September and this, that, and the other, all those things that make up the case. In this case, those 4 blanks need to be filled in by you with facts that support your decision in each of those 4 different findings of fact. And as Kathy just indicated, one way to do that is to say, as per staff report, because that's basically saying, I agree with what was just presented to us in the report and orally from the microphone. If you had a different reason, then you could put that different reason in also, but what she is providing for you is the staff's opinion on what is the fact basis that supports each of those 4. So if you do nothing more than look at your report, you can write in what she said, or the shorthand is as per staff report, which just says, I agree with the staff, and those are my factual findings. So, does that make sense? Okay.
And your staff report has the staff findings highlighted there.
And then the asterisks, I think, are just an aid to you to make sure that you have highlighted the fact that if you hit one of those where you find it is not, and for just an example, to use the first one, that if you found that the petitioner is not the owner, well, you don't have to fill out any of the rest of them because you've denied it just by doing that. So any of them with an asterisk, if you choose that asterisk box, you have denied it without further action. Because any one of the 4 asterisked answers will deny the whole petition. It's legal stuff. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. Isn't it interesting, Mr. Murtaugh?
It's awesome.
That's why lawyers get paid.
Who came up with these rules?
Lawyers.
Well, I assume
The Friday.
they're correct. Check another check. Is that what you think?
I'm sorry, he's already been down here.
Be my guest.
With your reason. Glad you know that.
We have 3 ballots that are missing a mark. Larry, Kathy, and another signature that I can't make out.
Pass it. You just pass
Which
it.
one did I miss?
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Sorry.
Apparently we'll have to train Larry.
That was not in the training session.
That's a big job, said that. That's a big job.
Seventeen ballots cast, all are filled out identically. They all say that the vacation should, the request should be granted. Finding number one, the evidence shows that petitioner is the owner of said lots. Finding number two, the evidence shows that the conditions in lots 1 through 4 have, rather than have not, changed. Finding number three, the evidence shows that it is in the public interest to vacate. And finding number four, the value of that part of George M. Neer minor subdivision will not be diminished by the vacations.
Thank you, sir.
I move to hear and vote on S 5085 Wolcalf subdivision minor sketch.
I second.
Okay, so we're back at the same 80-acre parent tract. Oh, what did I do? There we go. So the property we're talking about is at the corner of 100 East and 750 South. It is zoned agricultural, as is everything for about a mile around. Here's a look at the aerial and a closer look. Here's the 4 lots you just vacated. So you can see this was heavily wooded and much hillier than the previous property. And here's a look at the minor sketch plan. You can see by the number of topographic lines, it is very hilly. County Highway was or is requiring a no vehicular access statement, which has been shown on here. There's only a couple of points where a driveway would be safe, in their opinion. There's also a tree conservation line, so a lot of this wooded area would have to keep the trees that are existing, to keep the soil from eroding. So we have 7 conditions of approval, and we are recommending conditional primary approval.
Thank you, Kathy. So petitioner or petitioner's representative like to make a presentation.
Bob Gross, R.W. Gross and Associates, 420 Columbia Street. Again, the staff report is thorough. We're here to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Does any member of the audience wish to comment on this petition?
Hello, my name is Len Seward. I live at 1501 East, 750 South, so I'm just to the east of this property. I'm not here to be in favor of or against, but just a comment of the area. I walk the area a couple times a day. This 750 South has 6 school-age children, kindergarten through high school. It's a very narrow road. It's traveled at a high rate of speed many times in the morning. I would encourage you to include speed limit signs, slow the traffic down, something that's commensurate with the narrowness of that road. I know that Mr. Gross has maybe indicated some areas that would be acceptable access points for vehicles. I'd like to know really where those would be. Those low areas are very scary. Evenings and mornings, you have 3 school buses that run every day. So again, I'm just voicing a concern with the traffic, both on 750 and on 100. 100's quite busy and quite dangerous in many instances, but just a comment there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the audience? Any questions from the board? Okay. Hearing none, you have a white ballot for this. And we're not looking at bonding, right? No. So we're looking at conditional approval or disapproval.
Seventeen ballots cast, all for conditional approval of the subdivision.
I move to hear and vote on Z 2848, 4UP LLC, Shane O'Malley, 4UP Plan Development, R3W and CBW to PDMX.
A second.
Thank you. This is a rezoning from R3W and CBW to PDMX. R3 is the medium to high density residential district, and CB is central business. The W means West Lafayette, so those are West Lafayette districts. PDMX, planned development mixed use. This is a 1.16 acre site, and it is bounded roughly by Fowler to the north, Vine to the east, and Wiggins to the south. Northwestern shoots off to the northwest along the west side of the property, and then there's an area where you see in the photo that's under construction that's exempted from this request, accepted from this request. There would be 3 smaller apartment buildings taken down that you can also see in that photo in favor of the proposal that's proposed here. One thing to note is that you can see the dotted lines running north-south through the middle of the site are existing alleys that would be reconfigured into these lines here to curve around this structure here and provide better access to the property. That was a negotiated portion of this request with West Lafayette. And the thing that's going to be built here would be a 6-story multifamily building, maximum of 191 units. They would all be residential, but there would be an option to convert certain ground floor area to commercial if the market and circumstances warrant it in the future. 107 parking spaces total. This is a look at the elevations. So panel and brick veneer, exterior materials ranging from orange peel to roast beef color. I haven't eaten yet today. One interesting component of this, and part of the negotiations, is that the petitioner also would be contributing to West Lafayette an area south of Wiggins. This is Wiggins right here. This is the subject site. This is actually called for in the West Lafayette Downtown Plan, conceptualized several years ago, and this petition actually allows West Lafayette to realize part of that plan in that this crosshatched area will be contributed by the petitioner to the city, ostensibly for park use or whatever use may be suitable down the road. The initial thought is that it could be a park. This is conforms to the West Lafayette Downtown Plan. This area is specifically called out in the plan as Block 1, known as the Downtown Village, which calls specifically for mid-density residential and mixed-use development. And so this is earning this recommendation of support from staff as it does help realize several of the goals in the West Lafayette Plan, and be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Does the petitioner or petitioner's representative wish to make a presentation?
Good evening, Kevin Riley with Riley, Teeter and Schreier, representing the petitioner. Shane O'Malley with 4UP is here as well tonight. Appreciate Mr. Hiddle's presentation. We agree with his comments, agree with the staff's report as well. We appreciate the energy that staff has put into, and also the city has put into this project in terms of reaching this point here. Just one thing to add and point out from the staff report. This project is referred to as an ideal fit for this location, or this area. So we agree with that, and happy to answer any questions you have. Request your approval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone wishing to speak against this petition? Any questions from the board?
Oh, I just have a question.
Okay.
It's actually for David, maybe. You said the plan called for mid-density. What's high density versus mid-density?
I don't know that the plan calls out a specific quantitative number for that. High density would be more of what you see right along State, so the 12, 13, 14-story buildings. Mid-density, I think this is pretty much what the plan calls for, would be more along the 5, 6, 7-story range. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Aaron?
Good evening, Erin Easter, City of West Lafayette. So the mid-density within this particular neighborhood, since it's stepping down from the new Chauncey, the absolute maximum that we would allow is 6 stories, which this building fits.
Any other comments from the board? Hearing none, you have a yellow ballot.
$17 ballots cast, 16 in favor and 1 opposed.
Thank you.
I move to hear and vote on Z 2861, Waldron and Third LLC, care of Patty Wida, Waldron Apartments Plan Development, R3W to PDRS.
I second.
You want me to?
Yes. Yeah. It's my understanding that Mr. Domkowski will be recusing himself from this and having a nice time out in the hallway.
This is a little under half-acre site on the southwest corner of 3rd and Walden Street in West Lafayette. It's in the area known as the Island, so it's sandwiched between different sections of Purdue University. You see the two older three-story apartment buildings on the property right now would be removed in favor of a 5-story building that would have a maximum of 82 units, 27 parking spaces. 3rd Street is closed to automobile traffic. It's been pedestrianized. So this site would gain access from the alley to the west. You see the parking is available, surface parking from that alley. This proposal matches with actually the aims of the campus and generally in the island, which is to a certain extent urbanize it, to pedestrianize it, to make it a little bit more efficient in terms of offering buildings fronting the streets and making it more amenable to a very, very walkable environment. So this is another planned unit development. It's been negotiated with West Lafayette staff and with APC staff to this point, and we're recommending approval.
Thank you, Mr. Hiddle. Does petitioner or petitioner's representative wish to make a presentation?
Ryan Munden with Reiling, Teeter, and Schreier here on behalf of Waldron and Third LLC, which is owned by the White family. I think Mr. Hiddle may have misspoke. It's 82 beds, not units. The two buildings that are going to be removed currently have 76 beds. So this is a net increase of only 6 beds, so it's a relatively small project in the grand scheme of things. Anticipated construction start would be January of 23 with completion by August of 24. We have incorporated all of West Lafayette and APC's comments and changes into this plan. So we concur with staff's report and recommendation and would request your approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Any questions, comments from the board?
In the staff report, it actually says 70 and 82 units. I think that, for the record, we need to correct that to beds. Because people are referring to the staff report.
Is that correct?
Correct, yes. Beds, right.
Okay.
Do you concur with that, Mr. Hiddle, for the record?
We have between 70 and 82 units with a mix of studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom apartments.
Aaron, can you answer this question?
Very connected.
So where are we on that? We looking? Can someone come to the microphone and put the correct answer on the record, please?
I think they're looking at
Oh, they're doing the math? Okay.
Yeah.
I can't see over the podium there.
What's his name? This guy.
Based on our parking ratio, it's 82 beds, but we're
I'll point out here that Ryan is on vacation right now, so.
Good to blame Ryan.
Yeah. He would.
Hello, Barry Knechtel with KJG Architecture in West Lafayette, Indiana. It is 82 beds, 70 units.
70 units.
I mean, it's still correct.
82 beds.
So would that have been a typo? Because it says between 70 and 82 units, which is a little
It's still between
indefinite.
70 and 82.
Is that meant to say 72 units and 82?
I don't know. Ryan's not here to ask, so. I still think it works.
It looks like, I mean, just an observation, it looks like a big building for 82 beds.
So this was designed to give some flexibility during the design of the unit layout because the developer wasn't sure if they wanted studios, ones, or twos. So there was some flexibility built into the PD so that they could change the mix and get more or less studios versus twos. So that may be where that comes in.
Well, the report says 70 and 82, containing between 70 and 82 units with a mix of. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
That just talks about units.
Yes.
And do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So
I think
between
that's the important
70
thing.
and 82 units.
Yes.
And
Okay.
then we don't know how many beds, because it depends on what the mix is with Studio 1 and 2, correct? Am I interpreting that correctly?
Correct. If you look at the plan development drawings, a majority of the units are studios and ones. So there are a few two-bed units, but a majority of this is just studio and one bedroom.
Yeah, I guess my concern came with if we've got, let's just say that all of them were three-bedroom units. At 70, that's 210 beds, and our parking ratio gets
Yeah.
way out of whack.
So it's written in the plan development that they're not even going to have any three-bed. And the plan development caps the number of studios, ones, and twos. It gives a range.
Okay, so two, I'm sorry, 140.
Right.
beds, same.
But there is a maximum in the narrative on the preliminary plan set. So you couldn't convert them all to twos.
Okay. And
Per-
do we
per
know
the
what that
drawings.
maximum would be?
Yes,
To keep the ratio.
correct. Apologize. It keeps wanting me to connect to the Wi-Fi. Okay. The maximum number of two beds is 12.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, there you
Makes
go.
sense. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, any other questions from the board? Hearing none, you have another yellow ballot.
16 ballots cast and 16 in favor.
Thank you.
I move to hear and vote on Z 2863, Cash Can LLC,
Yeah.
I3 to GB.
I second.
This is a rezoning from I3 to GB. I3 is the most intense of the industrial districts. GB stands for general business, the most intense of the commercial districts. The site is a little under 7/10 of an acre, improved with the two buildings that you see in this photo, this aerial photo. The operator is a golf cart sales operation, and the petitioner is desiring to expand. I believe that at the time of the permit was issued, or applied for, it was determined that the zoning is not conforming to what's necessary, hence this rezoning request. You can see on the zoning map, maybe, there, the purple is I3 and the pink is GB. They want to go pink. This area originally would have all been zoned I3 when the zoning maps were recrafted many years ago. They had been zoned just a blanket industrial. When we categorized and graded the industrial districts, they are rezoned to I3. And since then, a lot of it has been rezoned. It's sometimes in large stretches and sometimes just in piecemeal fashion to GB. Indicative of the kind of business that is finding this place a good place to do business. And so we have been supportive traditionally of those rezonings that stretch back to 2005 from I3 to GB, especially as this is a rather small-scale operation. It wouldn't create much of a significant change in the character of the area, and we would then consider it conforming with the plan, and we are supportive of this request.
Thank you. Does the petitioner or petitioner's representative wish to make a presentation?
Good evening, Kevin Riley with Riley, Teeter and Schreier, representing the petitioner. Clayton Richard with the petitioner, one of the owners, is here as well tonight. We agree with the staff's report. The rezone is necessary because they wish to expand the business, not the footprint, but the operation, to include licensing, or the ability to license and offer license plating services for these golf carts. So they can't currently do that. That is not a permitted use in I3, so that is why we have to rezone to GB. Happy to answer any questions you have. Request your approval. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a quick question. Is this the only business in this location, or is there another business that runs out of this location? The dent guy?
Car detail.
Okay.
Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to it? Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, you have your last yellow ballot.
17 ballots cast. All in favor?
Thank you. There are no administrative matters. There are no subdivisions filed this month for the Executive Committee. There are no variances filed for the Board of Zoning Appeals. Director's report.
Thank you. The director's report was distributed this morning. I do want to call attention to one item under personnel. You have an extra person up there with you today. Christina Lamb is our new meeting secretary and payroll manager, and she is taking Jen Ewan's place. Jen is right next to Christina, as you know. Jen is taking Diana Trader's place as office manager, and Diana Trader retired just 2 weeks ago, last week, Friday. So we're very glad to have Christina Lamb with us.
Welcome.
We've begun work on the Wabash and Tippecanoe Townships Comprehensive Plan update. Ryan is heading that affair, and we're in the process now of putting together steering committees to do that. It's going to be quite a big job, but it's got to be done. And we're just finishing the Stockwell plan. Kathy headed that and did a fantastic job. We're going to be bringing that to you for review and recommendation next month. Be happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Any questions for Mr. Hiddle? Thank you. Any citizens' comments or grievances? Hearing none.
I would just like to say...
You're not a citizen.
Oh, sorry. I'd just like to wish Vicki Pearl happy birthday tomorrow. It's a big birthday.
Yes.
It's a big birthday.
It's a big birthday.
Okay. Mr. Schroeder.
I move to adjourn.